Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole and today we are finally coming from our house. We moved in last week and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our sign-off walkthrough, moving day, and then a couple of moving tips, things I would have done differently if I had really thought it through beforehand. I'm filming from the bedroom right now. My office is not quite set up and it is very echoey in there. It's a little echoey in here too, so I hope the sound quality isn't too bad, but it's way worse downstairs. So I just wanted to make sure that it's a little bit okay. So this is not going to be my usual setup with all of these doors in the background, but at least I can get this video out to you and again, hopefully help you out with some moving tips and what to expect on your closing day. If that sounds good to you, be sure to hit that like button, go ahead and subscribe. I would love for you to stick around. Let's get going. You're probably going to see a catwalk behind me at some point. That is Sydney. I'll try to snag her if she walks closer. So she decided that she wanted to follow me into the room. I had to close the door, so now she's kind of wandering around, but we'll make sure to, there she is, get that intro if she walks back over here. Her name is Sydney. We don't ever call her that. We call her Goobers. Hey, don't scratch the carpet. Hey. All right, so she insisted on going into the bathroom and there she is. Finicky. So starting off your closing day, you will have your sign off walkthrough. That will be the day of closing, but very close to when you actually sign all of the paperwork. So the week before you did that kind of pre-closing walkthrough, and that's where you marked off all the little scratches, dings, anything you had issues with, anything you had questions about. And this is really to go back through. You're going to check off that list and make sure everything was actually taken care of. So the person who did your walkthrough beforehand will come back. They will have the entire list of items. It will help if you kind of remember where everything was. Sometimes they'll say, oh, I have note here, scratch on the left wall, and you're looking around and you're like, I don't quite remember where it was. Same thing as before, take your time, make sure that you scan over everything, make sure it was fixed and kind of to how you wanted it to be fixed. Don't be afraid to ask for something else to be done. There was a couple of items that we had that are still a little bit outstanding. We were aware of them before we actually walked in, but it's still good to make sure that there is kind of physical notations somewhere so that there is kind of a timeline, they're on the clock, they know what needs to be addressed. Any other questions you come up with, now is the time to make sure that you get those asked, and then you do your sign off and you are done with that, and it is straight on to closing. Now, typically they'll have that walkthrough a couple of hours before closing, so maybe you can go straight from one to the other. In our case, what we actually did, we rented a U-Haul, just a smaller truck, had that loaded up. We went back to our apartment, loaded up some more things, and then on the way to closing, hi. Did you want to say hi? You might hear her chatting in the background a little bit. Don't rub against that, you're gonna shake the camera. So what we did is on the way to closing, we actually dropped the full U-Haul off in the driveway, went to closing, so that way on the way back, we could unload the U-Haul and then take that back, and we already had kind of some of our stuff here and ready to go. When it comes to closing, they should have all of those papers, all of those documents sent over to you beforehand so that you can look over everything. Now, if you're like me, you don't really want to read through every single piece. It is so much paperwork, so many documents, and you will get walked through absolutely everything when you're actually there at the settlement company. So take a quick look, see what you're kind of getting involved with, read through if you want. Don't feel like you have to. Obviously, prepared is always a good thing, but to be completely honest, I did not look at them. It was a lot for my brain to handle. We were packing. There's so many moving pieces. So if you don't get around to it, that is okay. Again, you'll have everything reviewed in front of you when you get to settlement. When you get there, it's likely going to be whoever from the settlement company, you, any of the other buyers, and your real estate agent can come as well. They don't need to be there, but somebody who has been through the process before might know some questions to ask or some things to look for or point out might be helpful. We did take a couple of notes. They'll go over a lot of things regarding your payment, your mortgage, your HOA, all of those items that are necessary, and some of the clauses that are specific to your area. Not sure if you can hear her cleaning herself in the background. I'm sorry if there's so much background noise. What are you doing? But if everything is working properly, if everything is there, all it really takes is about 30 minutes to get through everything. We had, I believe it was 25 different places to sign, different documents at least. Some of them they do need in triplicate, and they will have you sign 3 of the exact same paper. So be prepared to write your signature a lot. I don't know about you, but I can never sign my name the same way twice. So it is not pretty by the end of it, but to be fair, it's not really pretty at the start either. My handwriting is terrible. After closing, you are handed your keys and you are ready to move into your house, finally. So if you've been with me for a while, you know that this was a much longer process than we were hoping for. If you're going through a new build process right now, it's probably, dragged on a lot longer than you were hoping for too. So just for an understanding of what we went through, this is about 10 months behind schedule. We were told June or July of last year. We closed at the very end of April of 2022. So kind of a long time coming, but for the full timeline, we signed in December of 2020. We were supposed to break ground in February. That didn't actually happen until September of 2021. And then it took until the end of April 2022 to actually be into the house. Hopefully that helps, and I do hope it moves a little faster for you if you're in the same boat. After that, we are moving in, and it is so exciting, and it is so busy and hectic and chaotic, and my feet hurt all the time. So one of the fun things is in the apartment, everything was carpet. So we do have carpet obviously here in the bedroom and in all of the bedrooms upstairs, but in the hallway, everything downstairs on the first floor, that's all LVP. The basement's carpet too. But a lot of what I'm walking on right now is that LVP. So it is a much tougher surface than my feet are used to, and I didn't realize how much of an issue that was going to be. You're on your feet a lot when you're moving, and just walking back and forth on that hard surface, my feet ache. So if you have house slippers or nice cushy socks, I would definitely recommend that to try to save your feet a little bit.
Wanna say hi? This is Sydney. Say hi.
Yeah, you don't really want to be up here, do you?
No.
I know. All right, I've changed angles a little bit. I couldn't sit like that anymore. I usually stand for my videos, and I just didn't have a good setup here, so we might be moving around a little bit. Please bear with me. So as I mentioned, moving is obviously a very just busy time, and everything that you can do to kind of help this process along, anything that's kind of a tip that I either found helpful or I would tell myself knowing now what I wish I had known before moving, little tips that might be able to help you with your move. So obviously you want to make sure that all of your utilities are set up, which not only means shutting them off at your old place, but getting everything set for your new place. Now that's not anything too out of the ordinary, but what I would have liked to know is when the internet was shut off. So we had FiOS at the apartment and now here at the house, and they told us that we had to shut off at the apartment the day before the move to get set up here the day of. Now we were lucky enough to get an appointment on that Thursday at 8 a.m. or an arrival window between 8 and 10. They actually got here pretty early and on time, which was very exciting. I feel like that doesn't usually happen. But with it being shut off the day before, I did think they were going to wait a little bit. But day of closing, I woke up at 4, which I do not do. I am not a morning person. I am not an early person, nothing like that. But I woke up at 4, so I was on my phone. I was messing with some things, and nothing on my phone was working. So what had happened is they shut off, assuming at midnight. So if you are planning on getting anything done that day, just understand that you're probably going to have to use your phone's data or have a hotspot or something like that, because our Wi-Fi completely shut off, at least as of 4 o'clock in the morning, the day of that shut off date. So just be prepared there. Other things like mail forwarding, just so anything that you might have missed does make it to your house. And something else I like to do is I go through all of my usual online shopping places and switch the address over. What happened when we moved to the apartment is I got some really great coupons for things like Crate and Barrel. I mean, they sent me a 20% off coupon and a 15% off for different date ranges, which I absolutely used. So I made sure to go back through, my Crate and Barrel, Pottery Barn, all of the home places, and I switched the address. I'll see if it actually works and if I get any coupons for kind of a move-in or a welcome to the neighborhood type deal. But it worked before, so I'm hoping it'll work again. So it's just something to keep in mind. Also, if you are kind of signed up for any coupons regularly, it's just a good thing to kind of make sure that it is getting to your door. Something to be aware of, I know in the last video I talked about just kind of the amount of dust that's going to start building up in your filters. And even though you might have something like a 6-month filter in your HVAC system, That's going to need to be changed a little bit more regularly before, until that kind of all settles out. These floors are so gross. So there is dust and just dirt everywhere. I mean, if you think about it, obviously everything's settling. You have movers in and out. We have people dropping off furniture from other stores. There were just feet everywhere. So I'm walking barefoot. Like I said, my feet are killing me. But what's happening is I could just feel that it felt like I was walking through like sawdust or something. And I vacuumed. I started Swiffering, with the wet jet and all of that. And it's still, when I go to take a shower at night, the amount of dirt and grime and nastiness, TMI, sorry, coming off of my feet is a lot. So just be prepared to vacuum and Swiffer and wipe and mop and do a lot more cleaning than you would think you might need going into a brand new house, because a lot of that dust is still settling. And especially if you're putting down your rugs, your furniture, vacuum it, mop it, sweep it, whatever it is. Get as much of that as you can up before you put anything down so it doesn't get trapped under there. And just keep in mind, you're probably going to have to do that kind of a lot for a little bit, just to make sure that you're getting all of that up, and then eventually it will settle and you won't have to be so on top of doing this. I feel like I've done this every day. It's been exhausting. So we've already done your pre-closing walkthrough, you did your sign-off walkthrough, and now you're actually living here. And guess what? Now you notice everything. So as you go through a new build, typically you'll have something like a 30-day kind of true up, 30 or 60 day, and then an 11, 12 month kind of true up to get things like your nail pops, any cracks, any paint issues, anything like that done and settled that's still under warranty that you don't have to worry about paying for. As eagle-eyed as you try to be during your walkthroughs, you're not going to see everything until you're actually looking at the place day in and day out and you're actually living there. So I have already started a list of things that I'm noticing. I mean, nail pops are already starting to come through. There is this door actually right here. We open and shut to make sure that the hinges were good, but we didn't try the little lock mechanism. So this one actually has a little lock at the top so that when this one shuts, they actually stay closed. We were moving. Sydney was up here in the bathroom while everybody was milling around to try to keep her safe and away from everybody. And I noticed the doors kept opening. And I knew she wasn't trying to escape because she's a little timid around people at first. And I realized that we did not test that lock mechanism at the top and it didn't work. It was not aligned properly. I think some of the screws on these hinges are actually a little bit stripped. So the door was actually a little offset, and it wasn't something we would have noticed just looking at it until we tried that latch. So things like that until you're actually using the objects, you might not know. Start those lists now so that when you get to your initial kind of true up and then your later one, you know where everything is. Take pictures if you need to, take detailed notes. But what you don't want to do is, month 13 rolls around and you're like, oh my gosh, this nail pop, I totally forgot, but I saw it the week we moved in, having that not under warranty anymore, and now that's on you to fix. It's just kind of a bummer, and something that you might be able to avoid if you start taking those notes immediately. Other things, like this isn't something that happened to us, but to my brother and sister-in-law at their previous home, they filled up the tub and everything was fine. And then when you got in and the weight was in the tub with the water, then it started to leak. Now, obviously during your walkthrough, you're not going to just post up and take a bath, but things like that are things that you're going to want to check. So I would suggest, if you have tubs in any other room, fill it up, have a seat, have a little bath, make sure that there is no leakage. Again, you want those treated and taken care of while somebody else has to pay for them while it's still under warranty, before that becomes solely your problem to fix. We're having kind of a similar issue right now with our sink in the kitchen. So we've used it quite a bit and everything seemed fine until we noticed there was a little bit of a puddle of water on the floor. It seems like when a lot of water is getting poured down the drain at once, so like we were washing out a big pot and all of that water gets dumped at once, and there are other things in the sink, so adding to that weight, we're pretty sure that's what it is. We're gonna get that looked at. But again, just doing the usual dishes, not something we would have noticed. So we wanna make sure that you're really testing out everything that you can to make sure it's working. Now, as we're moving in, there were so many boxes. It was insane. So I kind of forgot how much stuff we had because a lot of it's been in storage and I knew that some of it we wanted to sell. So our garage is full of furniture. Most of it's getting sold. Some of it I'm going to try to refinish, and the rest of it is broken down boxes. It's just, the amount is insane. But as we're unpacking, I kept getting a little bit too wrapped up in where should this go? Where do I need it to go? Where is going to be the perfect place for this to go? I kept having to take a step back and just realize, get it out of the boxes, just get it somewhere. You can make everything pretty later. You can do all of the finishing touches later. Get everything out, get it in a place that might not be exact, and just keep moving. Do the finishing touches later. So things like in the kitchen, I finally found all of my little storage containers, and I really wanted to start, decanting everything. Move-in day is not the time to do that. So everything got chucked in the pantry, and it doesn't look that great, and it's fine. It's something that we're going to do later. It needed to get off of the floor, out of the box, so the box could get broken down, put in the garage. So don't worry about perfection. Don't worry about being neat and tidy and exact just yet. Just focus on the big picture to start. And then once things are somewhere, so maybe where you have your glasses right now in your kitchen isn't going to be where you want them to be. So then it will be easier to take those down, move something else over, and put them on this side instead of, my kitchen island was just a war zone. I mean, FEMA should have been involved. And it was just a lot. Not sure if you could hear that. That is my dog, not delicately walking down the stairs. So trying to rearrange while everything's already a disaster, it's just too much. So put it away somewhere. You can figure out the kind of perfect place for things later. With the mover, something that I was not good about, I had everything on the boxes labeled for me, but that doesn't help somebody who doesn't know what your thought process is. So something I would do if we were to move again is getting those stickers that are kind of color coded or just very overly labeled what room they're going in, because we had a lot of confusion. I was out there directing traffic for hours essentially of where things were going. Boxes where this one needed to go in the basement, but they were carrying it at the same time as one that needed to be in the bedroom, at the same time as something that was going in the dining room. It was a lot, and that was totally on me. So I want to make sure that if you are moving those stickers, I'll put some up on the screen, I'll link them below. I think it would just make things a lot easier. You could obviously just use a Sharpie. I would probably try to put that on a couple sides of the box. It might seem like overkill, but it makes things a lot more kind of clean and streamlined during your actual move process. If everything is labeled in a way that somebody on the outside, somebody who is not in your thought process or is going to be living in your home, something that anybody could pick up a box and understand where it's supposed to go, is going to be very helpful. Save them a lot of time, and then save you trips from finding something in the basement that needs to go onto the second floor. And that happens once, not so bad. That happened 30 times, now you're exhausted. And then finally, something that I found a little bit later on in the process because I'd forgotten about it, we had a lot of dishes that I finally got to use. I talked about the Crate and Barrel kind of coupon. So last June, I bought a completely new dish set, and I was so excited to use it. And then we kept not moving. So now, 11 months later, finally got to use it. And I'm taking them all out, and I bought a lot of dishes, and they all have a sticker on them, which is fine, but why are they so hard to take off? I had like 2 stickers that peeled right off, and everything else was just, pick, and they're shredding and they're ripping. Then you gotta go in with your nail, and then you gotta soak them in water. It was a lot. So what I ended up doing was I finally found my hair dryer, which I know I had mentioned my hair dryer was packed away in another video. And I did this with the stemware. Heating up the stickers with a hair dryer loosens them up to the point where they peel so much more easily. Not every one is going to be perfect. Some of them still do kind of peel and strip, but when they're warm, they're easier to clean up. And sometimes you do get that perfect sticker, and they made life so much easier. So I had all of the wine glasses lined up on the counter, had my hair dryer pointed towards the base of the glasses, and then would kind of rotate them in and out so that 2 were always kind of warming up as I was peeling the sticker on another. I also ended up doing this for the light fixtures over the island. So I had talked about the pendant light fixtures in another video. They are finally up, and I do absolutely love them, but they had 2 stickers on the inside of each. And I do remember seeing in the comments, in the reviews of those light fixtures, that people were having issues with the stickers. Now, ideally, you would get that off before they were hung. I completely forgot to do that. So not only did I have stickers, 2 stickers per pendant light, they were also hanging from the ceiling by the time I was like, oh, I should have done that. So plugged in my hairdryer, crawled up onto the counter, sat down and heated up those stickers, and they peeled off like a dream. It was so satisfying to know that I didn't mess them up, especially because I did see again in the reviews a couple people really struggled with it. So if you have stickers like that, get a hairdryer. It doesn't take that long and it makes it so much easier. If you're closing on your home soon, if you're going to be moving soon, first of all, best of luck. I know how happy I was to get in here, so I can't wait for you to be in as well. I do hope you found something helpful here. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe so you can stick around for some more content. Other than that, I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until next time, bye.